Anime isn't just about epic battles or dazzling visuals. It's a bridge connecting generations, forging heartfelt bonds and transforming lives. From poignant lessons to exhilarating adventures, these are the stories that shaped who I am. Join me as I count down the anime that left an unforgettable mark on my journey, and may just change yours as well. These are the 10 anime that changed my life. Dragon Ball Z. What can I say about DBZ that hasn't already been said? Dragon Ball Z, adapted from the manga by Akira Toriyama. DBZ aired in Japan from April 1989 to January 1996, but it wouldn't land in the US until September 96, and what an arrival it was. Now, you might be wondering, why is DBZ at number 10 on this list if it changed your life? Well, it's number 10 because of how it served as the origin point for my entire relationship with anime. DBZ was my gateway, my first anime, and certainly the most anime I had encountered at that time. I vividly remember those weekend mornings, waking up or being woken up, and instead of catching more sleep, I would instead opt to watch this odd block of cartoons. It consisted of Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon, and boy did I have questions. Why the spiky hair? What's a Saiyan? And why on earth do they show so much muscular man-thigh? The answer, as it turned out, was simple. This is anime, and it's awesome. For a couple of years, I watched DBZ on and off, catching episodes whenever I could. Then Cartoon Network picked it up and ran reruns on weekdays, bringing it into sharper focus for me. Meanwhile, at school, DBZ was the talk of the playground. Friends would bring in printed pictures of Mystic Gohan or Majin Dabura, images that sparked endless speculation about the future of the show. Would there be new Saiyan forms, new androids? One friend even swore he knew a technique to make you a Super Saiyan. It involved imagining your zodiac symbol and powering up. Ridiculous, right? But hey, I wasn't any better. I once prayed for God to remake reality into the Pokemon world. Desperate times. For a while, DBZ stagnated, leaving us with little more than those playground rumors, counterfeit VHS tapes, and blurry images from who knows where. That's how I discovered Tapion, Trunks, and the story behind his sword. But then, out of nowhere, this ad appeared.
We had the ability, we had the technology to make him faster and in every way more powerful than he was before. I will make this whole planet suffer!
Frieza was coming back. I remember the anxiety this announcement gave me. After spending countless afternoons watching Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo struggle against Frieza, I couldn't believe it. Frieza, the most horrifying, brutal villain I had ever seen, was returning. The battle against Frieza remains the most memorable anime fight of my life. And now he was back. I was terrified. But then, Trunks showed up. Cool, calm, and wielding a sword, this edgy new hero absolutely dismantled Frieza and King Cold in seconds. And just like that, he ushered in what would become my favorite era of DBZ, the Android Saga. This arc tied back to Dragon Ball and built toward the unforgettable Cell games. Cell's villainy was on another level. Frieza's destruction was vast, but Cell's felt personal. Seeing those empty cities littered with nothing but clothes, knowing he had to physically absorb each person, it was horrifying, and yet it was peak DBZ. Dragon Ball Z changed my life by showing me what true power could look like, and introducing me to the concept of pushing past your limits. To this day, before a major test or a hike, I'll refer to my training time as my Goku training or my time spent in the hyperbolic time chamber. It's really something that's been added to my life philosophy. And finally, DBZ gave me Goku. I mean, the guy is arguably more iconic than Mickey Mouse. His love of food, his relentless drive to better himself, and his unshakable optimism. It's infectious. Goku's big smile fills me with happiness and confidence in a way few characters can. So yeah, Dragon Ball Z didn't just introduce me to anime. It gave me life lessons, unforgettable battles, and a hero who feels like an old friend, and for that, it earns a spot on this list. Now, for the second anime that changed my life, Gundam Wing. Gundam Wing aired in Japan from April 1995 to March 96, and eventually reached the US in March 2000. And according to Wikipedia, was Cartoon Network's highest rated show for a while. Now, is it the best Gundam series? No. Is it my favorite Gundam series? Not even close. But it was my first Gundam series, and that alone cements its place on this list. I know this might sound a little familiar coming right after Dragon Ball Z, and there's a reason these two are side by side. Gundam Wing felt like the next step forward, aging me up in terms of the anime I consumed and the content I craved after. Watching Wing opened the floodgates, and soon I was seeking out other Gundam series. Suddenly, I was a kid willing to watch something from the 1970s just to connect some dots. I slogged through the confusing, shortened movie trilogy of OG Gundam, trying to piece together the tangled relationships between Amuro, Char, and Lala. From there, I discovered gems like the 8th MS Team and War in the Pocket, and those solidified me as a lifelong Gundam fan. But let's get back to Gundam Wing. I know I sounded a little harsh on it earlier, but make no mistake, there is a lot to love about this series. For starters, Wing is home to some of the coolest mobile suit designs. Sure, other series might have flashier designs, G Gundam, I'm looking at you, but Wing nailed a refined, almost restrained aesthetic. And then there's Endless Waltz, where those custom models took the rule of cool to its absolute limit. Second, the music. The opening theme, Just Communication, and the unforgettable White Reflection from Endless Waltz, these tracks are burned into my brain. Even today, when I listen to them, I feel this surge of bravery and determination. They stand tall among the great anime themes of their time, right up there with Evangelion's opening or those emotional Inuyasha endings. But what really hit me about Gundam Wing was its timing in my life. Wing premiered on Cartoon Network just as I was entering 8th grade. That year, thanks to a mild act of delinquency, I found myself at a small Catholic school for a semester. Now picture this, me forced into an ill-fitting uniform, brimming with teen angst and resentment. Enter Hiro Yui. Watching him coldly rip up Raylina's birthday invitation felt reasonable? Do I laugh at that moment now? Absolutely. But back then, it resonated. Gundam Wing might not be the best Gundam series by objective standards, but it was a game changer for me. It introduced me to the broader Gundam universe, its music fueled my imagination, and Hiro's no-nonsense attitude gave me a strange sense of camaraderie during a tumultuous time. For all these reasons, Gundam Wing earns a spot on this list. Next up, we have Princess Mononoke. Released in July 1997 in Japan and October 1999 in the US, Princess Mononoke was a rarity in the late 90s video store anime sections. You'd usually find it sitting alongside titles like Vampire Princess Miu and Final Fantasy Legend of the Crystals. If you were an anime fan back then, you know exactly how precious it was to stumble upon a movie like this. I watched Princess Mononoke when I was fairly young, and it introduced to me emotions that life wouldn't bring my way for years to come. The resolve of its doomed protagonist, Ashitaka, on his solemn journey still haunts me. Even now, thinking about it fills me with a deep sense of melancholy and admiration. This movie is more than a story, it's a masterpiece, a true work of art. The visuals are breathtaking. But it's not just the animation. It's the way the music melds with the scenes of untouched natural beauty, creating a sense of awe that you typically only get from experiencing these places in real life. Watching the humans in the movie reconcile, or attempt to reconcile, with nature's cold, dangerous yet undeniably honest majesty is unsettling. It forces you to reflect on how far humanity has wandered from the natural world and whether we've crossed the point of no return. There's one line in the film that keeps repeating in my head, even though I can't quite pinpoint why it resonates so deeply with me.
Instead of eating her, I raised her as my own. Now, my poor, ugly, beautiful daughter is neither human nor wolf. How could you help her?
I don't know, but at least we might find a way to live.
Anyone else feel that? What would you call that feeling? Princess Mononoke is packed with moments like this, quiet moments of reflection and silences that hit just as hard as the dialogue. It's as if the film is brimming with fragments of Miyazaki's own experiences, gathered during his wanderings through the world. I've had the privilege of visiting Yakushima Island, the place that inspired the setting of Princess Mononoke, and let me tell you, there's nowhere like it. I remember standing there as the breeze rolled down the mountains, passing through the hibiscus trees. I took a breath and thought, this place is magic, just like Ashitaka. It was one of those rare moments when reality felt every bit as enchanting as the movies. In the end, Princess Mononoke changed my life by teaching me to truly observe the wild beauty of this world. It reminded me that nature isn't just a backdrop, it's a kingdom, a living entity brimming with magic and history. And it showed me a love so pure, so deeply human that it serves as a constant reminder of how profound our emotions can truly be. Thanks to this movie, the woods will always feel like a sacred place to me. Whenever I wander through them, I can't help but imagine a procession of forest spirits quietly following behind. Next, we have Ghost in the Shell. Released in Japan in November 1995 and in the US in March 1996, Ghost in the Shell is a cornerstone of 90s anime and a defining piece of the cyberpunk genre. I've always loved cyberpunk. It's a genre that anime of the 90s and early 2000s absolutely excelled at, and it played a huge role in solidifying my lasting love for anime. In my experience, every so often a cyberpunk work comes along that perfectly encapsulates the genre's themes and ideas up to that point. Think Blade Runner, Ridley Scott's film adaptation of Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electronic Sheep, or William Gibson's Neuromancer. Ghost in the Shell is one of those moments for anime. It delivers a tightly woven package of digital dreams and existential fears, ideas I've been introduced to through media my whole life, but now presented in a visually stunning and unforgettable way. It's funny because I vividly remember how I first heard about this anime. It was recommended to me by someone I had met on the Alien Adoption Agency, if anyone remembers that website. I remember asking them, childish me, whether or not it had any nudity in it, mostly to see if it's something I should watch at night in full moon. Their response? Yeah, but it's tasteful. And that was all the reassurance I needed. Now, let's talk about the visuals. The setting of Ghost in the Shell is one of my favorite cyberpunk cities ever. It's gritty, sprawling, and brimming with so much detail it's hard to keep up. Just look at this iconic chase scene. See what I mean? The architecture is incredible. These towering, massive apartment complexes evoke images of Gibson's sprawl and the megabuildings of Cyberpunk 2077. But they feel grounded, almost real. They remind me of places like the Chungking and Mirador mansions in Hong Kong, spaces that are just as alive and chaotic as the world Ghost in the Shell creates. Rewatching this film after years away from it reminded me just how sharp its story is. What struck me most this time around was how much more plausible its ideas feel today. The concepts Ghost in the Shell explores, identity, consciousness, and humanity, feel eerily closer to reality. The mental gymnastics of the characters as they debate how human a ghost is after so many digital iterations are fascinating. This isn't just a sci-fi thought experiment anymore. It feels like a debate we could be having in the very near future. And then, there's the Puppet Master. Watching them plead for asylum sent chills down my spine this time. The idea of an entity, created by humans yet beyond human, struggling to meet the arbitrary standards of what we define as life, is haunting. There's a strange sadness in observing this creature try to prove its existence in a world where humanity itself seems to have abandoned those same standards. Ghost in the Shell is more than an anime. It's a reflection, a warning, and an exploration of what it means to be alive in a world where the lines between organic and artificial are increasingly blurred. It changed my life by opening my mind to these questions and showing me that even the most futuristic settings can hit with deeply personal truths. Next up, coming in at number 6 is Kiki's Delivery Service. Kiki's Delivery Service premiered in Japan in July 1989, with Disney's English dub following in 1998. Deciding between Kiki's Delivery Service and Spirited Away for this spot was a real struggle. Both influenced me in profound ways, but in the end, I went with Kiki's Delivery Service because I encountered it long before Spirited Away was even released in the US. So it's been part of my life for much longer. Kiki's Delivery Service tells the story of a 13-year-old witch and her talking cat Gigi, as they embark on a year of living alone, a coming-of-age tradition for witches. Kiki settles in a stunning, dreamy seaside town, and while the movie never explicitly states the time period, I've always imagined it taking place in the late 1940s or early 1950s. This time frame adds so much to the setting. From charming shops to cozy cottages, the bustling townsfolk to the inviting bread and pancakes, everything feels so alive, as if you're truly there. That immersive sense of presence is, without a doubt, one of my favorite aspects of Hayao Miyazaki's work. Kiki's journey is sprinkled with encounters that feel beautifully random yet deeply real. One moment I absolutely love is when Kiki decides to risk being late just to help a pair of kindly elderly women. One of them bears a striking resemblance to Yubaba from Spirited Away and even seems oddly familiar with witches. But maybe I'm just imagining things. It's moments like these that make Kiki's world feel so vibrant and full of characters. Another moment that hit me hard is when Kiki loses her ability to fly. And not just that, but her ability to speak with Gigi. It's heartbreaking. I felt this myself. It's like losing the ability to dream, to empathize, to imagine beyond the limits of flesh and bone. I remember walking into work during a time like this, and a coworker who knew me pretty well asked, "What happened to your magic, Sal?" The question felt like a slap in the face, but like Kiki, I eventually found my way back through a positive encounter with another person. A reminder of the profound impact we can have on each other. Kiki's delivery service appeals to a certain kind of adventurer. The type who loves to wander off the beaten path, who travels without an itinerary, and who finds joy in the unexpected. Every time I lift off on a plane, even just for a moment, my mind drifts back to Kiki's initial departure, soaring into the unknown with nervous excitement. And as I land, looking down at a new place I'm about to explore, I feel the same spark of adventure she had. Kiki has always reminded me of myself, eager to grow, yet often held back by my own insecurities, by comparing myself to others, or by taking my strengths for granted. Her struggles are so real and so relatable, and for all of these reasons, and probably more, this beautiful film has earned its place on this list. And finally, coming in at number 5, the incredible, horrifying masterpiece, Akira. Released in Japan in July 1988 and in the US in December 1989, Akira is without question my favorite anime and manga. If this list were based purely on preference, it would take the number 1 spot, no contest. Before diving in, I want to share a quote. It's the preface from the 2009 paperback edition of Akira, Volume 1. Somehow I never noticed this quote before, but reading it now makes me want to revisit the manga with fresh eyes. Whether I should send my congratulations or a thank you to Kodansha Comics upon this republication of Akira, I don't know. But Akira was my very first long serialized manga, and one which I later reconstructed into an animated film. For this reason, it is a work to which I am deeply attached. It reflects the essence of my views towards life and death, and the world which surrounds us. I hope it will be an entertaining reading experience. Katsuhiro Otomo, June 16th, 2009. An entertaining reading experience is putting it lightly. After reading this preface, I'm more motivated than ever to dive back into Akira and try to uncover the essence of Otomo's views on life, death, and the world. Alright, now, let's talk about the film. Despite being one of my all-time favorite pieces of animation, I'll admit, the story in the movie can be hard to follow. It often leaves viewers with more questions than answers, and while that's true, as someone who has read the manga, I can confidently say there's no way the entire story could ever be crammed into a single movie. A full series might not even suffice. Akira's story is hard to put into words, which is part of its brilliance. At its core, it's about 2 lifelong friends, Kaneda and Tetsuo, whose bond is complicated by envy, codependence, and power. Tetsuo lives in Kaneda's shadow, envying his strength and charisma. Meanwhile, Kaneda feels a sense of responsibility for Tetsuo, needing his actions to be seen by him. This dynamic is shattered after a violent encounter and a crash involving the Esper Takashi. The incident awakens something terrifying in Tetsuo, a psychic power eerily reminiscent of Akira, the being whose unimaginable might once engulfed all of Tokyo. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but if you haven't seen Akira, you need to. And if you've never read the manga, I can't recommend it enough. It's a masterpiece, an investment of time you will not regret. Beyond the story, Akira's setting is unforgettable. Neo-Tokyo is an electrifying dystopia, a sprawling, decaying metropolis filled with neon lights, urban grit, and the tension of a city teetering on the edge of chaos. Every frame of the opening bike chase, Kaneda and his gang weaving through the crumbling streets, their cycles leaving streaks of light, is a visual marvel. It's a scene that never gets old, no matter how many times I watch it. And then there's the music. The haunting score, composed by, I'm gonna try here, Geno Yamashiro Gumi, combines traditional Japanese instruments with futuristic tones and chants. Tracks like Kaneda and Reincarnation elevate the film's atmosphere, making every moment feel both grand and intimate. The music doesn't just accompany the visuals, it consumes them, amplifying the sense of wonder, dread, and intensity. It's as much a part of Akira's DNA as its stunning animation. Anime is like coffee. It hits differently depending on when you drink it. I first saw Akira at 13, when the THX remastered version hit VHS. It was prominently displayed on an end cap at my local Blockbuster, and I convinced my dad to buy it for me. My argument? It was a cartoon, so it must be for kids. This is the same man who let a 5-year-old me watch Watership Down alone because of its cute cover, so I knew I had this in the bag. Watching Akira at 13 was an experience. The brutality and violence, especially the fate of the man trying to escape with Takashi in the beginning, left me stunned. Tetsuo's fear in the hospital scenes, I felt it. The concepts of the movie presented, about humanity, power, and destruction, I understood them, but part of me wished that I didn't. I remember sitting in silence afterward, lost in thought, grappling with the ideas that felt too big for me at the time. Akira blew my mind. Akira changed my life by introducing me to my favorite animation and manga of all time. It pushed the boundaries of what I thought anime could be and made me a lifelong fan of the medium. And let's not forget its enormous contribution to the cyberpunk genre. These days, I can't see a work of cyberpunk without hoping for or expecting a nod to Kaneda's flashy red motorcycle. Akira is more than a masterpiece. It's a force of nature, a film that challenges, inspires, and leaves a mark. For all of these reasons, it's firmly earned a place on this list. Next, coming in at number 4, is a personal favorite of mine, Outlaw Star. Premiering in Japan in January 1998, and later captivating Western audiences on Toonami in January of 2001, Outlaw Star is an underrated gem in the space opera genre, brimming with intriguing characters, innovative concepts, and a richly crafted universe. The series follows Gene Starwind, a skilled yet reckless jack-of-all-trades with a deep-seated fear of space, and his 11-year-old tech-savvy partner, Jim Hawking. Their mundane lives on the backwater planet of Sentinel-3 take a thrilling turn when they cross paths with Hot Ice Hilda, an enigmatic outlaw on the run from the K-Pirates. Through a series of perilous events, Gene and Jim become the owners of a highly advanced prototype ship, the XGP, affectionately named the Outlaw Star, and the Guardians of Melfina, a bio-android crucial to the ship's operations. Together they embark on a high-stakes quest to uncover the secrets of the Galactic Ley Line, a legendary treasure trove said to hold immense power and knowledge. I vividly recall the excitement that Outlaw Star ignited in my preteen self. The show's unique blend of science fiction and adventure was perfectly encapsulated in Toonami's promotional commercials, which never failed to send a thrill down my spine. Outlaw Star boasts a distinctive style, from its diverse and vibrant settings like the bustling space station Blue Heaven, to its eclectic cast of characters. The On-Ten Seven, particularly their enigmatic leader Lord Hazanko, stand out as some of my favorite anime antagonists, their mysterious nature adding depth to the narrative. The series seamlessly weaves elements of Tao magic used by the pirates into its science fiction tapestry, enriching the lore and setting it apart from its contemporaries. Fans of Firefly would likely find a kindred spirit in Outlaw Star. Both series share a space western aesthetic and delve into the camaraderies and familial bonds formed among the ship's crew. The dynamics aboard the Outlaw Star mirror the close-knit relationships seen on the Serenity, offering a blend of action, humor, and heartfelt moments. A standout feature of Outlaw Star is its opening monologues, which often provide profound insights or intriguing glimpses into the show's universe. These narrations set the tone for each episode, offering both life advice and deeper understanding of the world Gene and his crew navigate. Equally impactful are the ending credits. The evocative imagery paired with haunting melodies evoke a poignant sense of longing, prompting reflection long after the episode concludes. Outlaw Star profoundly influenced my appreciation for narratives centered around journeys and the bonds formed through shared adventure. The series encapsulates the essence of embarking on a quest with a diverse group, each member contributing unique skills and perspectives. This theme resonates deeply with me, mirroring my love for JRPGs and real-life travels where the journey transforms individuals into a cohesive unit. Outlaw Star presents an exhilarating rendition of this timeless concept, making it a cherished entry on my list of life-changing anime.
I was planning to tell you that wherever you are in the world, I swear that I'll find you again no matter what.
And next, coming in at number 3, we have the breathtakingly beautiful Your Name. You ever stumble upon something you didn't know you needed? That's exactly how I felt when I watched Your Name at my sister's recommendation. Watching it felt like inhaling warm spring air for the first time in years. It was a rare experience that reminded me just how powerful storytelling can be. Your Name tells the story of 2 teenagers, Mitsuha and Taki, who live vastly different lives in rural Japan and bustling Tokyo. After a mysterious connection causes them to begin swapping bodies, they form a unique bond that transcends time and space. What starts as a quirky, almost comedic premise evolves into something far deeper, a poignant exploration of love, longing, and the invisible threads that bind us. The film weaves together themes of tradition, fate, and human connection, all against the stunning backdrop of director Makoto Shinkai's signature visuals. Watching Your Name tore me to shreds, in the best possible way. I spent much of my life longing for things, beautiful, fleeting things that, deep down, I knew didn't really exist. I've always been a romantic, someone who sought narrative and meaning in every moment. But somewhere along the way, life chipped away at that part of me. You know how it goes. Responsibilities, disappointments, the endless grind. I didn't even realize I lost that part of myself until Your Name brought it back. The impact it had on me was similar to what Princess Mononoke did years ago, but this time, it hit with perfect timing. Like a perfectly brewed cup of coffee, Your Name arrived when I needed it the most. It rekindled that spark, that yearning for something more, that old me who was searching for those perfect magical moments. Your Name doesn't just tell a story, it immerses you in its world. From the quiet, sunlit fields of Mitsuha's hometown to the neon-lit streets of Tokyo, every frame feels alive and brimming with emotion. But what makes Your Name truly special is its emotional core. It's a story about longing, not just for love, but for connection, for understanding, for that feeling of being truly seen. It's about the invisible, unspoken ties we have to others, the ones we sometimes can't explain but feel all the same. And that ending? I won't spoil it, but let's just say it left me sitting in stunned silence, feeling every emotion all at once. It's rare for a film to be so devastatingly beautiful, but Your Name achieves it effortlessly. Ultimately, Your Name changed my life by reminding me to keep searching, to look for those fleeting, perfect moments where the world feels just a little more magical. It's a love letter to human connection and the beauty of longing itself, and for that, it has earned its place as one of the most life-changing anime I've ever experienced. Next up, at number 2, we have Kentaro Miura's opus, Berserk. First released in October 1997 in Japan and making its way to the US in May 2002, Berserk is a masterclass in storytelling, atmosphere, and raw emotion. It's a series that doesn't just entertain, it stays with you, haunts you, and challenges you. Berserk tells the story of Guts, a lone mercenary wielding an impossibly large sword, whose life is a relentless fight against a world that seems intent on crushing him. Set in a dark, medieval landscape riddled with war and unspeakable horrors, Berserk is as much about the external battles Guts faces as it is about the internal ones. Grappling with loss, purpose, and the will to endure, at its core, it's a tale of survival, resilience, and the choices that define us, even in the bleakest of circumstances. The world of Berserk is an unforgiving place. It's a place where humanity's worst traits are laid bare, and yet, it's also where you see the indomitable spark of the human spirit shining brightest. Every encounter Guts has, every blade swung, every step feels monumental because of the weight of what he's carrying. I know it's almost a cliche to say this at this point, but Berserk is one of those anime I turn to during my hardest moments. Guts, like Goku, is a character I invoke when I truly need to grit my teeth and persevere. His journey is a testament to enduring, even when it feels impossible. Whenever I'm in dire straits, I find myself repeating Skull Knight's famous words: struggle, contend, wriggle. Honestly, if I'm being completely transparent, I plan on one of those words as being my last. They're more than just a mantra. They're a way to live, a reminder that even when the world is unkind, there's strength in refusing to surrender. While my deepest connection to Berserk lies with the manga, its sprawling, detailed panels, and unparalleled depth of its storytelling, for the sake of this list, I'm focusing on the anime. The 1997 adaptation, while just a fragment of the larger saga, captures the raw essence of Miura's world. It may not encompass the entirety of Guts' journey, but it serves as a striking entry point to the series' unrelenting power and depth. Berserk is not an easy watch. It doesn't hold your hand, and it doesn't promise a happy ending, or any ending at all. But that's what makes it so powerful. It's raw, unflinching, and deeply human. It's the kind of story that leaves a mark on you. One that reminds you of the beauty and struggle and the courage it takes to keep moving forward. A reminder of what it means to fight, to endure, and to find strength in the darkest of times. And for that, it's earned its place near the very top of this list. And now, finally, the anime that changed my life the most, the legendary Cowboy Bebop. First airing in Japan in April 1998, Cowboy Bebop faced a rocky debut, with episodes aired out of order due to network restrictions and ending with the cryptic message, "This is not the end, you will see the real Cowboy Bebop someday." The series was later picked up in October 1998, where it was given the proper treatment it deserved. It finally made its way to US audiences in September 2001, where it quickly gained legendary status. Set in a futuristic, gritty, and beautifully melancholic vision of the year 2071, Cowboy Bebop follows a ragtag crew of bounty hunters aboard the spaceship Bebop. Each member of the crew, Spike Spiegel, Jet Black, Faye Valentine, Edward, and the lovable Ein, carries their own unique past and burdens, creating a dynamic that blends humor, heartbreak, and raw humanity. At its core, it's a story about loneliness, redemption, and the search for meaning, all wrapped in an effortlessly cool Western aesthetic. The show's impeccable style is matched only by its genre-defying soundtrack. Composer Yoko Kanno and the Seatbelts created a score that blends jazz, blues, rock, and more, infusing every moment with energy and emotion. From the high-octane opener, Tank, to the somber and reflective Blue, the music is as iconic as the characters themselves. For me, Cowboy Bebop landed at the perfect time to leave its mark. September 2001 was a period of immense change, both in my life and in the world. Technology was advancing rapidly, and society was evolving in ways that felt both exciting and disorientating. Amid all of this, Spike Spiegel became a figure of calm in the chaos. His non-judgmental impartiality, his stoic demeanor, and most of all his mantra, "Whatever happens, happens," taught me a profound truth. Whether that phrase was first uttered by Marcus Aurelius or Spike Spiegel himself, I know who taught it to me. Spike's outlook helped shape the way I approach challenges and uncertainty. His cool, detached confidence wasn't just about looking suave. It was about accepting life as it came, adapting, and moving forward. I can't count the number of times I've quietly thought or said those words. grounding myself in their simplicity. Cowboy Bebop changed my life by teaching me what it means to be cool, not in the superficial sense, but in how we carry ourselves in the face of adversity. It's a show that transcends genres and mediums, leaving an indelible mark on anyone fortunate enough to experience it. For all those reasons, and more, Cowboy Bebop takes the top spot as the anime that has impacted my life the most. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the anime that shaped my life. Each one of these stories left a mark. They either taught me something, offered comfort, or sometimes even inspired me to see the world in a whole new light. Anime has a way of connecting us, not just to these cool worlds, but to each other too. That being said, I'd love to hear of any anime that impacted your life, guided you, stayed with you. Until next time, I'm Companion at World's Edge, and I'll see you later, Space Cowboy.